Oh, that does give a little pinch. I still have an arm.
Hello and welcome back to the Done Deal YouTube channel. I'm David OC, this is Bob Flavin, and today we're checking out the new Polestar 2, which is a new brand in Ireland.
It is.
And it certainly looks well.
It looks very Nordic, right? So it's a very, very Volvo look, and there's a damn good reason why it looks like a Volvo, because it's based on a Volvo. They're the same company. They're using the XC40 chassis and underpinnings to make this Polestar 2, but it's still very unique looking. It's still one of the prettiest of the cars available right now.
It really is, and driving this for the last couple of days, it turns so many heads. People trying to figure out what exactly is it. And so if you're watching at home, Polestar was once upon a time essentially what AMG is to Mercedes. Now they've gone out on their own and it's basically now become their EV brand. Now obviously Volvo are doing fully electric cars. The XC40 is actually one of my favourite fully electric cars. I think it's brilliant.
Yep.
So a great starting place for the Polestar 2.
It's an amazingly big car
It
on
is.
the inside and out now, but it's something entirely different. Your brain changes when you get into it because it's totally different, very svelte interior. There's not a whole lot going on there. It's very dark in there, it's very quiet.
Very minimalistic.
Yeah.
It's
a positive
It's
thing.
very modern. It reminds me of a cool Swedish home. Now in this review we're going to be checking it out, talking about the different models that you can get, because there's all sorts of different electric motors, range, power, and also we're going to be talking about prices. But quickly on the price point, they start at about 51,000 euros, which is great.
That's affordable. Yeah.
Now that includes your grant and everything, so I suppose they start 5,000 euro more than that. But then you can spec it quite substantially up. This one is the long range dual motor.
It's a fast one as well.
It's got the performance pack, which bumps the brake horsepower up to over 460 horsepower. And this has a starting price of about, or not starting price, this has an on the road price of 74,000 euros. But I actually think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck in that
Try and
respect.
find a petrol powered car with that much horsepower for that money.
Yeah. That also will go 400 kilometers.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, this is the Done Deal YouTube channel, and today we're reviewing the Polestar 2. So there are a couple different variants. There's single motor versions which have a range of high 400s, then there's the long range version which goes into the mid 500s, and then there's the dual motor. In terms of battery size, tough one to figure out. Bob, what sort of battery size is it?
It has a 78 kilowatt hour battery.
And what about the size of the electric motor?
The motor's 300 kilowatt.
Handy that they put that on the side.
It's handy that it's written there, yeah.
It does remind me a little bit of a courtesy car though, like this car is supplied to you by Polestar. But that said, it is perfect. As well, charging time's great. You can go from 10 to 80% in about 35 minutes, so pretty quick. And then at home, you just charge up overnight. Ideally, I actually like to avail of the night rate. Bob, not so much.
And not so much on the night rate, no. I prefer the just having a straight up day rate for the 24 hours.
The boot, actually quite spacious. I really like the huge amount of storage in here.
You don't get a spare wheel though.
That's a lot of the ways with new cars. Seats do fold down. It's Swedish, so yes, there is a ski hatch, which is very handy.
Very important. Also has this little thing in the middle, which is sort of a barrier between the two, so you get hooks on it, and elastic bands to strap things down with. It's a kind of a clever yoke. I haven't seen that in any other cars.
It is. It's obviously, this is the thing about Scandinavian countries. They're very practical. I think IKEA is a good example. Polestar is a good example. Volvo has something very similar as well that works really, really well.
I just like the hooks and things. It's all very secure, locks up as well. We'll have to test the boot though, close it.
Oh yeah, completely forgot.
We go again. This is where my sooner or later this is going to finish. And
I know.
put
You're
my
a brave man putting it. I'll be putting my hand up here, but
see what happens now. Oh, that does give a little pinch though, small pinch.
I'm getting confidence.
It's got quite an edge to it, that there, but it does stop, so that's okay. Not going to kill anyone. I still have an arm. So back in a Polestar, and the first thing that's really noticeable is the doors are actually quite small. But there's a really solid thud off that door, and the whole car feels pure solid inside. You do get heated seats in the rear of this and a 12-volt socket back here. No USB ports. Oh, sorry, there are 2 USB ports, but it looks like a 12-volt socket thing. And 2 air vents back here as well. No way of controlling the temperature. Little nets on the back of the seats, and parents, the back of the seats are plastic. That means when the kid puts a foot in there, you won't be pressed into the back of it. Very nice. I love the orange seat belts. I don't know if it lifts the colour enough in here because it is actually quite a dark area to sit in. Without that glass roof here, it'd be very dark back there.
So the interior, well, to begin with, I love how minimalistic it is in here. It is very Volvo, in particular this steering wheel, the heads-up display, again, quite like a Volvo, but whilst there's not a huge amount of adjustability, I do like that the maps are there, and you can see obviously your range, how much battery percentage you have. The infotainment system, brilliant. Really, really like it, and as an Apple user, as an avid Apple user, it pains me to say I do think it's probably one of the best ones I've used in a while. Google Maps is inbuilt. It connects up very, very well. My only bone to pick with it is that it's not wireless Apple CarPlay, only Android Auto. So I need a wire if I want to connect my phone up to it. But as a whole, really, really good. Then when it comes to being out on the road, the driving position's glorious. Right now, despite it being quite sunny, it's a little bit chilly. I have the heated seat and the heated steering wheel on. But I want to show you, when you click this driver icon here, you've so much maneuverability and adjustability. It's incredible. So to begin with, I can play around with the steering feel, and that makes a big difference. I personally just like it on standard, but then it's more down the bottom here. So you've got the one pedal driving. Now I've got that on standard, which is full blown. So when I take my foot off the accelerator, look at that, from 60 kilometers per hour to nothing very, very quickly. It's really, really good. And it's also better for your efficiency, but it's really easy just driving with one pedal. And then it has what on another car would be called auto hold. It calls it creep, which is kind of just a cool, quirky name. And I think that's a little bit of the theme of this car. So that is all the things with this car as a standalone Polestar 2. Now this particular one, well, it's a little bit more than that, because it's not only the dual motor long range, but it's also got the performance pack. And what that means is, instead of 408 horsepower in the regular dual motor version, this has 476, and that is quite a lot more. It is blisteringly quick, and this car weighs over 2 ton, and as I drive it around now on these glorious Irish country roads, it feels like it weighs 1200 kilos. It's so light, it's so nimble, and it is outrageously quick, like phenomenally quick. Very recently I drove the e-tron GT RS. I spent a few days in it, and that thing was hilariously fast. And this is about half the price and about 70 or 80% as quick. It's so fast, and it's really, really good. The way the power is distributed to all 4 wheels, it's grippy, it feels tight, it's just phenomenal. So that performance pack, it doesn't only include a software update that gets you that more horsepower. It doesn't only include these trendy gold seatbelts, which actually brighten up the interior substantially. It also gives you some Brembo brake calipers, which mean that whilst it accelerates quick, it stops just as quick too. And I have to say, it's amazing to drive. Do you need all this power? Probably not. Do you want it? Definitely. But as a whole, if we wind it back, the Polestar 2, what's it like to drive? Well, as a whole, very, very nice. I really like the frameless mirrors. Visibility out the back isn't great, but there's a fantastic 360-degree camera on it. And it's a nice size, it's not too big. It's a weird one in terms of height, because it's a car that's built on an SUV platform, so it sits a little bit higher, but it's quite nice. And as a whole, I can really see myself living with this day to day. The range, over 400 kilometers, that's enough for me. Real world 400. I'm never going to do more than that in a week, realistically, so that's enough. So yeah, as a whole, to drive, lovely. And if you can afford to go for the performance pack one, then definitely do. So there you have it. That is the Polestar 2. Overall brilliant, but question for you, Bob, would you go for this one with the performance pack, the dual motors, or what would you do?
I think you will never use the power, in this country particularly, that this car actually has. It's so fast, it's so quick, you'll get over that after a while, and you just end up driving like a normal family car. I would go for the entry-level version of this.
I actually completely agree. Then you're availing of the grant, which means you're just getting more value for your money. Now, this is brilliant, and if you have the money and you want one, then by all means go for it. But the base entry-level one is fantastic as well.
And looks the same, so you're not really gonna you're not gonna get different alloys.
I mean, the 20-inch forged alloy wheels do look great, but you don't need them. Another great thing about Polestar, so you've got your 3-year servicing plan that comes with it. But a big thing that I really like is you get lifetime over-the-air updates. So it's kind of like your iPhone or your Samsung or your Android in this case. You just get updates, and so that might be to do with some driving aids or whatever it might be. The technology always improves, and I quite like that. And we know that some brands are talking about having a paid subscription for that.
Or only lasting 2 years or 1 year. You get 1 year of updates and then you have to pay for the rest of it,
So lifetime of that is a good point to make. Now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Bob for joining us today. And we hope you've enjoyed the review. If you are interested in going to test drive one, then we'd suggest going down to your local dealer and getting to grips with it there, because it does have to be something that you experience yourself with any electric car in particular. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.